All right. Thank you. Let's get rolling. So last week we ended off with prospecting. There's a couple more points I wanted to cover in prospecting, and then we're going to move over to customer service. So hope everyone had a great week. Let's just pick up where we left off and get right into it. Because prospecting, after all, like, listen, it's the lifeblood of our business, right? I don't care what anybody says. If you're not prospecting, if you're not doing lead gen of some sort, if we're not out there looking for new business all the time, we're going out of business. Either you're growing or you're dying. And that's just the reality, especially in this market. It is more important than ever to constantly be kind of feeding this engine of real estate with new, fresh prospects. So let's finish up the prospecting points. Great point. Remember, prospecting is not about you, it's about them. Prospecting is not about you, it's about them. I was just talking with Linda this morning, and imagine this situation. One of her leads, it's a property where the parents, well, want to sell it? Yes. Is there any rush to sell it? No. There's no loan. They could sell it in a month, they could sell it in a year, they could sell it in 10 years. So it's so important in these situations to remember that it's not about you, it's about them. Oh, I'd love to come over. Let me take a look at it. Let me see how much we can sell it for. It's like, hold on a second. It's not about you. Nobody cares about you. It's about them. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for your loss. What information can I give to you? How can I help you? Tell me what I can do for you. I'm so sorry to hear this sad news. I'm here to serve. When you make it about them and not about you, they are so much more open and attracted to working with you because they understand that you're not out to get something from them. That was a very extreme example, that I was talking with Linda this morning because it was just a very relevant one. But in any case, with any prospect, it's not about you. It's about them. Next point. While prospecting, stay mentally focused on the following thoughts. So remember this when prospecting, because prospecting can be a little mentally tough sometimes, right? So stay focused on the following thoughts. Number one, there is somebody in my marketplace that wants to buy or sell today. Let's find them. That's thought number one. Super important because otherwise you're thinking the market is down, there's not a lot of listings. I can't find anything for my buyers. There's just not much going on. No, you got to have this thought. There's somebody in my marketplace that wants to buy or sell today. Let's find them because they're out there. Second thought, every no brings you closer to a yes. Every no brings you closer to a yes. Realistically, are you going to get more no's or more yesers? You're going to get more no's. You might get 10 or 20 or 30 no's before you get a yes. That's okay. Are you going to let the no's discourage you? If you do, you're going to have a very short career, right? Every time you get a no, remember, every no brings you closer to a yes. In fact, once you understand your numbers, let's say I don't know, just for round numbers, let's say you make $100,000 a year and you make, 1,000 contacts, right? That means every contact is worth, is it $1,000? $100. Every contact's worth $100. So if you make I'm gonna mute you, Mark. If you make $100,000 a year, if you make 1,000 contacts, that means every contact is worth $100. And knowing those numbers, when I say every no gets you closer to yes, that means every time you prospect and somebody says, no, don't ever call me again, click, you can say, thanks for the 100, I appreciate it. You knock on a door and someone says, I'm not interested, don't ever contact me again. Slam, great, thanks for the 100. The point is, once you understand your numbers and you understand that every no gets you closer to yes, you really get that the quote unquote rejection is just part of the game. Every no gets you closer to yes. Therefore, the no's are a very necessary part of the process. They're part of the journey. In fact, the journey doesn't exist without the no's. Is it really realistic to think that every single person is going to say yes? Just cold call right down the street. I just want to find if you want to sell your house. Yes? Great. I'll be right over. Next call. Do you want to sell? Yep. Perfect. I'll be right over. Like, no, that's not reality. Every single no gets you closer to a yes. And the third thing to stay focused on while prospecting is a simple process, but it's not an easy one. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going to. There are no shortcuts to any place that's worth going to. That's a great point about prospecting. It's simple, but it's not easy. That's what makes it so great, that there are no shortcuts. That means the only ticket for access that we need is a little bit of hard work, something we all possess, something we all can have access to, something we all have control over. How hard am I willing to work? How much time am I willing to spend? How many people am I willing to talk to? What scripts am I willing to use? What things am I willing to say? So really, really cool. Doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, what your past is. But the great qualifier of success is really just, what price are you willing to pay? How hard are you willing to work? Super cool. I think that's a great point. I love that because it makes everything really fair. Next point. There are 3 opportunities for business with every person you talk to. With every single person you talk to, there's 3 opportunities for business. They could be a past client, they could be a center of influence, they could be somebody you're on line behind and at Trader Joe's. They could be a door knock, a cold call, and it doesn't matter. Expired listing. But there's 3 opportunities for business with every person you talk to. And they are, can I do business with them today or in the next 7 days or 14 days or whatever your lead time is, 30 days, 3 months, whatever. Can I do business with this person? That's the first opportunity to get business. Think about this. You're calling your past clients. You're calling your center of influence. So opportunity number 1, can I do business with this person right now in the next week or 2 or month or 2 or whatever? Number 2, can I get a referral from them? Who do they know that needs help buying or selling real estate? So can they do business right now? Do they have any assistance that they need? Number 2, can I get a referral from them? And number 3, can I add them to my center of influence list? So if they're not looking to do business now and they don't have any referrals for me, are they someone that I enjoy talking to, that has the right mindset and heart set, and that I want to participate with, and add them to my center of influence list? Because that COI list, that center of influence list, as it grows over time, that will give you a 10% return. That will give you 10 deals a year if you have 100 people on the list, or 20 deals a year if you have 200 people on the list. So can I do business with them now? And I get a referral from them, and I add them to my COI list. And then look at my emails or my calls or my social media or my mailings or whatever you do with your center of influence list. And the last point with regard to prospecting before we move on to customer service is this: I can't let someone else's response to my prospecting determine my future. I can't let someone else's response to my prospecting determine my future. This is an interesting point. I think we can look at it in a couple different ways. So Mark, I know you're out prospecting a lot, and Sean, you're prospecting a lot, and Lisa, you're always talking to people out there. But let's say you're prospecting and you call someone. I can't recall, Mark, if we were talking about this morning, but anyway, there's always people that, oh yeah, Mark called somebody and he was kind of grumpy, right? And basically was kind of rude on the phone. Are you going to let that person's response to your prospecting determine your future? No, that'd be crazy. That's one guy. You don't know what's going on. Maybe he was having a rough day. Maybe he just lost his job. Maybe he stubbed his toe 10 seconds before you calling him, and he was just in a rotten mood. Maybe his kid is sick. You don't know what people are going through. So you can't let someone else's response to your prospecting determine your future. What if you're knocking doors and you knock on a real estate agent's door? What the hell are you doing? This is my neighborhood. Okay. Or, you're in an office and you're on the phones all day. Everyone's like, keep it down. You're so noisy. The hell are you doing? You're on the phones all day. You're so noisy. We can't focus. We can't work. That happened to me multiple times in the past. People literally picked up all their shit at their desk, went to the office manager, said, I need to change desks. That guy's too noisy. He doesn't shut up all day long because I was on the phones. You can't let someone else's response to your prospecting determine your future. There's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be kind of crabby people that want to pull you down. But don't let their response to your prospecting influence your future. All right. We're going to move on to customer service now. Don't water the weeds. That's right, Sean. That's funny. Customer service. So anybody think customer service is important? I'd say so. Customer service might be one of the most important things. It's what makes a past client want to do business with you again. It's what makes a center of influence want to do business with you because they know your level of service. They know you as a person. Customer service might be the largest source of referrals because people have seen how good you are at what you do, and they want their friends and family and neighbors and coworkers to have that level of service. So let's get into it on customer service. Point number one, there is a direct correlation between the income we receive and the level of service that we offer. There's a direct correlation between the income we receive and the level of service that we offer. That's kind of interesting. If you really think about that, that's pretty extraordinary. So if you want to improve the income, improve the service. It's all about quality and quantity, right? So we already know, Phil, you give incredible levels of customer service. We already know that. So if you're not, you kind of got that on lock, I think. Now it's just, you need to give that gift of service to more people. If there's people in your community that have a shitty experience with a different agent, that's your fault because you haven't reached out. You're responsible for that, Phil. You need to reach out to these people and make sure they don't get stuck with shitty agents, right? Raise the quantity of people you work with because they're virtually, again, if you're on this call, you care about growing your business and growing your talent and growing your, skill set and growing your service level. That's why we're taking the time to do this stuff. There is nobody that gets better service, that gives better service than you guys and gals. So yeah, so Phil, you go so deep with the people that you care about, with your clients. You just really need the opportunity to do that with more people. More people really should have that. Everyone should have that level of service. Number two, make great customer service your obsession, and repeat and referral business will follow. Be obsessed with it. It's hard for people to be obsessed with customer service, I think. Tell me if you guys think I'm off base on this, but I think it was a point from a few moments ago. It's not about you, it's about them. I think people have trouble taking their mind off themselves and thinking about themselves. So it's very hard to be obsessed with with great customer service. Lauren, I get the sense that you would give great customer. Lauren's a new agent, but you're someone that, when I think customer service, I can't imagine anybody could give better service than you, that anybody would be more attentive than you, any more caring than you, right?
Yeah, thanks. I hope so. Yeah, I try to with my patients for sure. I mean, yeah, patient care is pretty important. We're in very dark times in our lives when we're receiving medical care. So it's always, best that we provide the best care possible and, compassion. So.
Yep. So Lauren is in the medical field, healthcare. And so, yeah, patient care, that's customer service, right? And guess what? There are doctors and nurses and medical assistants and staff that give crappy service, right? There's no shortage of that. You would think, my gosh, just little bedside manner. But I guess when you put yourself in the position of some of these doctors and nurses, they get a little burnt out too, right? See the same thing over and over and over and over again for years. I guess you can't blame them, but transitioning that level of service into real estate, that means something. That's a big deal.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So I was listening to a Ryan Sargent video recently, and he was talking about just customer service kind of, and it was a speech, and I was about to send it to all you guys. But his big thing was always be enthusiastic or be excited for your clients. So always have excitement in your presentation or in your voice, because they can go a long ways. And I just thought that was really important because, buying a home for like first home or new home upgrade for your family. And I just think it's kind of drinking the Kool-Aid since I got into real estate, which is a very short period, but I think owning a home in real estate is extremely exciting. So we should always portray that to our clients.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because just listen, no matter what's going on for them, if they're excited about buying a house that you wouldn't even want to walk into because you're so disgusted by it, if they're excited, why wouldn't you get excited? They're excited. Why wouldn't you be excited for them? But also, to have a level of flexibility with your emotions, right? Like if somebody is selling their house because they lost their job, you could be very, not excited, but you could be very kind of emotionally in tune with them. And if they're feeling a real loss there, you can feel that loss with them. That's what rapport is. So having that sensitivity to be with them where they're at is great customer service. That is an obsession with customer service. If they're excited, you're excited. If they're sad, you're sad. You're supporting them in the way that they need the support throughout the process. So great customer service requires regular communication. So whether it be a listing or a sale, once a week, everybody gets a call. Every client, once a week. If you're working with a buyer that's looking for a home, once a week, communication. Even if, hey, there's nothing new on the market yet, I just wanted to get in touch and let you know I'm out there, I'm looking, and as soon as I find something, I'll let you know. If you drive by an open house that you're interested, call me right away, we'll go see it. Once a week. Working with a seller, hey, guess what? No showings this week. That's a problem. Nothing else to report other than we haven't had any showings. Maybe we should, let's wait one more week and then maybe we'll talk about price. Nothing to report, but I'm communicating with you. During an escrow, somebody's pending under contract once a week. Hey guys, how are you? Nothing to report here. Just wanted to get in touch, see if you have any questions. Nope. Great. I'll talk to you next week. Be well. Once a week. Now, the thing about once a week communication is that you can also ask for referrals. So anyway, once a week communication, very, very important. Next point. Yeah, Phil.
Quick question. When you say once a week, what if you're continually sending them listings? Is that considered communication, or you got to go above that?
I would play it by ear with a client. If you're sending a listing and they're replying back saying, I don't think I'm a fan of this one, you say, oh, I get it. They're like, oh, I don't think I'm a fan of this one because, I want a little better view. And then you reply to that. Oh, I totally get it. Okay, I'll keep my eyes open for something else. Like there's a communication there, right? So play it by ear, whatever feels right. Whatever feels right. The point is this, Phil. What you don't want is this. What you don't want is a client calling you when you should have called them. There's really a client calling you saying, Phil, I got this paper I got these paperwork. I don't know what the hell this is. They're asking me to sign it. No one's telling me. You haven't told me what it is. I'm paying you all this money in commissions, and I think I deserve a phone call, don't you think? You don't want that call, right? So I think a great, if a client never has to call me during a transaction, ever, I feel like we're doing a fantastic job. That means we're being preemptive in everything. That means we're kind of exceeding expectations. We're bringing stuff up before it ever gets brought to them. There's nothing worse than like a client will call me, and I literally have been meaning to call them. They'll call me, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I missed the opportunity. Here they go. They called me first. Like, hey, I was just wondering about so-and-so. It's like, you know what? Literally, I was planning on calling you. And they're thinking, bullshit. But I really was going to call you. So overly communicating is always better. And whatever feels appropriate. Whatever feels appropriate. But if there's no other communication, certainly once a week is appropriate. Start the process of under-promising and over-delivering. It's much better than over-promising and under-delivering. Way too many agents over-promise. You cannot deliver if you over-promise. Talk about setting yourself up for failure, right? Listing a property at 2.5 that should be listed at 2. That is over-promising. You cannot deliver on that promise. That doesn't lead to any place good. So start the process of under-promising and over-delivering. Or maybe just making promises that you can keep. That's another way. Like, it gets a little kind of in the minutia, like, oh, how do I under-promise? It's really just don't over-promise you can't deliver, and make promises you can keep. Have integrity, right? Make promises you can keep. Next point. Great customer service revolves around answering any concerns they may have, doing what you told them you would do, and telling the truth. That's great customer service. Answering concerns, doing what you said you were going to do, and always telling the truth, right? We have a buyer we're working with. They're looking at a house. It's listed at 3.1. It's not selling. It's been on the market for 6 months. Why would a property be on the market for 6 months in this market? It's overpriced. If I did my own analysis, I feel like 2.7. It's worth 2.7. I hope, but I doubt that that listing agent is telling the truth to that seller. I hope they are, but guess what? They're not sold. In one of the lowest inventory markets we've ever been in. They've been on the market for 6 months and they're not sold. So somebody's not getting the truth. Next point. Block out a 2-hour period of time every week to talk with your sellers and buyers regarding their transactions. Might not need 2 hours, might need more than 2 hours, depending on how busy or not busy you are, but time block it. Set aside a time and just make those calls. Next point. Remember that the qualities of reliability, dependability, and honesty are what they're looking for. So practice these 2 qualities. Reliability, dependability, and honesty. It's kind of the same thing. We're just talking about it in different ways. But there's something really reliable about knowing that, hey, Mark, thank you for trusting me to get your property sold. I'm going to give you a call every single Thursday with an update on what's going on. If we're getting a ton of showings, if we're getting no showings, you're going to get a call on Thursday. If we're overpriced or underpriced, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to let you know every single Thursday. So you can count on me for a call every Thursday. Like, that's really cool. Most agents don't do that. I actually know an agent. I know she works in ops. She works at an ops role. And many years ago, she worked for a guy that did like 300 transactions a year. And he said to her, he said, when we list a property, if I can get through that entire transaction, the whole listing period and the whole escrow period, and I don't have to talk to that client once, I'll give you $100. That's probably not a good source for repeat and referral business to not have, but that was a different culture, not recommended, but he would literally bonus his staff if he never had to talk to a client. He just didn't want to talk to anybody. What we're saying in customer service is the opposite of that, obviously. This is a guy that would just prospect, take expired listings all day long, and he had to always, kill what he ate. He had to always be hunting. He had to always be, finding the next deal. But by going the other route, just having a high level of customer service and actually leaning into that relationship, that's when wonderful repeat and referral business comes through. Next point. Let's just do a few more. Treat every person as you would like to be treated to enhance your customer service. Kind of a simple thought, right? Treat every person the way you want to be treated, right? They call that the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. You guys ever heard of the platinum rule? Different from the golden rule. The golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated. The platinum rule is treat others the way they want to be treated. It's a little nuance. Treat others the way they want to be treated. Have the sincerity, have the sensitivity, have the ability to eliminate your ego enough to really see and understand how others want to be treated. So follow the platinum rule. Treat others the way they want to be treated. Gosh, talk about rapport building, huh? Talk about rapport building. God, Sean, he's the best agent. It's like he just is reading my mind. No, he's just treating me the way I want to be treated. He gets me. He knows what I need. Remember, customer service is a method of developing business both now and in the future. It is your residual income. Customer service is kind of like an annuity plan. It keeps on giving and giving and giving over the years. With poor customer service, like the guy I mentioned 5 minutes ago, he had to hunt all the time for new business. He had to prospect 3, 4, 5 hours a day. But here we're talking about customer service. It's a method of developing business. Remember, the higher level of service, the higher your income. The better your service, the more referrals you get. So it develops better customer service, develops more business now and in the future, especially when you couple it with a little bit of lead gen focus. Phil, we already just established he takes amazing care of his clients, right? So during a transaction, when you're talking to the client, are you taking the extra 8 seconds to say, hey, Phil, I'm so appreciative to be your agent in this transaction. Is there anyone else, Phil, that you can think of right now that needs my services, that needs my help? Is there anyone you know that is looking to buy as well, or that needs to sell, or maybe that's even thinking about investing in real estate? So by taking that service and then adding on a layer of kind of a lead gen aptitude, that will create more business. You got to ask. Can't just assume. Always have to ask. I'm relearning that again as I'm calling my past clients my center of influence. Remember, your customers are your biggest asset. Your biggest asset. Treat them with respect. Nothing new, right? Nice to say it though. Treat people with respect. It's a great reminder. Treat people with respect. What does that mean? Be sure to say thank you often. Thank you. I was just before this call, I was talking with a prospect, and I was like, thanks for taking the time to speak with me about this. Thanks for giving me all this information, Barry. I really appreciate you sharing all that. I'm so appreciative that you spent the time explaining all this to me. Like thanks for sharing that with me. I'm totally fine having massive levels of humility when I talk to people. It's a gift that you're giving to them. So in this point, be sure to say thank you to your customers often. It emphasizes their value to you. It acknowledges them in a way. Next point. Remove the drama of the transaction by having solutions to common problems before they come up. A dramatic transaction is a very inefficient transaction, right? Some are just filled with drama, some transactions, and some you just coast right through. No drama, super easy. Which one's better, right? The drama-free transactions are better 100% of the time. So how do you remove the drama from the transaction? Well, it says here, by having solutions to common problems before they come up. And relating that to the clients. And guess what? If you're calling them once a week, you can do that. All this ties in beautifully. So if you're representing a seller, do we already know the buyer's going to do an inspection? Of course. Do we know that inspection's going to have 100 or 150 points when they get that written list? Yes. Is the buyer going to be shocked or surprised or upset? Always. Is the seller, is the buyer going to make a repair request? Almost all the time. Are there some things on that repair request that the seller going to think are stupid? Yeah, almost all the time. So these are all very common drama points or problem points. Do we know they're going to come up? 100%. Can we future pace the situation and give the seller an understanding prior to that happening? Yes, every single time. Hey, Mark, I just want to let you know what's going on. So the buyer's going to do their inspection tomorrow afternoon, and they're going to be there for probably 2.5, 3 hours. And once they're done with the inspection, they're going to provide us with a report. I want you to understand, it's the inspector's job to find everything that's not in code, not in compliance, not working properly. They're going to give you a whole laundry list, 100, 150 points on things that are quote unquote wrong with your property. But don't worry, this happens every time with every property. Even a brand new construction home, they come up with a list of 75 points that are not right. Brand new construction. So don't worry about it. Okay, don't even worry about it. It's the inspector's job to highlight all these things. Then what's going to happen is the buyer's going to create a repair request. I'm going to let the buyer's agent know to try and keep it to health and safety or major system problem. But inevitably, sometimes people will write some dumb things in there. Just expect there to be some stuff in there that you're not going to be happy with. And that's okay. You don't have to agree to anything. You don't have to agree to any of it. What we'll do is we'll sit down together and we'll decide what things may be appropriate, an appropriate ask, and then we can give them a counter to that and we can appropriately respond. I just want to let you know this is what's happening. This is what's coming. Totally normal stuff. Nothing to get, concerned about, but that's what's happening next. Then they get it. This is just what Aaron said. So remove the drama by having solutions to common problems before they come up. Pretty simple stuff. Let's pause there actually, and just open the mics. Is there anything you guys are going through as far as challenges with the business we can bring up and deal with this week? Prospecting, lead follow-up, appointments, negotiating, schedule, mindset, anything at all. All right, good. Mark, go ahead.
Sorry. The couple of people asked me what's happening in the market in our area. So is there a way to give a synopsis, like in a few sentences, other than what we know is that it's a record low inventory. And so as we know from Mr. Habib's video, we're expecting real estate interest rates to go down on the 10th. May or may not happen, right? But is there anything other than that? Like, do people ask you that when what's happening with the market, Aaron, and how do you respond? That's my question.
So I wouldn't make any assumptions. I wouldn't talk about interest rates. I wouldn't talk about anything until I know what their interest level is. So, but stating a fact and then asking another question, I think, is an appropriate thing to do. What's going on with the market? Well, inventory is really, really low right now. Tell me, are you potentially thinking about, are you looking to buy or sell or invest? What's your interest in the market? And then cater it to them. Oh, we're actually looking to buy something. Perfect. And then we go in that conversation. Or we're looking to sell something. Perfect. Let's discuss how that impacts you.
Great.
Or I'm not looking to do anything. Okay, great. Well, Phil, go ahead.
Aaron, so going back to Mark's point, I continually getting texts and calls asking me to project where the market is going. I'm like, I'm at my wit's end. I can't handle these, these questions anymore. And I mean, I don't want to commit to anything. I mean, because look, some Wall Street couldn't predict certain things. Sure as hell, I'm not going to do it. So it's, you just go like, well, according to the trends and industry reports and chief economists, blah, blah, blah. So I go out this tangent, but typically I tell them, if you're looking long-term, just buy it. But what's your take on it when you get approached by?
I don't try and be the smartest person in the room, honestly. I actually always approach these situations with a massive level of humility, because I find that a lot of people are just they like talking, but I don't know that they really want my opinion, honestly. And I don't know that my opinion really, I'm not Barry Habib, right? So I have my opinion, it's my opinion. So I'll be very humble, and I won't really try and push anybody in one direction or the other, because I don't believe that I know. But one thing I do know is this. I know that, no one can be certain about anything, right? We can, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? But one thing I know is anybody that's owned real estate over a long period of time has become very, very, very wealthy. I kind of keep it. That's a fact. That's a fact. Does that mean that, 6 months from now, Strand houses can go from 13 million down to 300,000? I guess it's possible, but it's not likely. I don't know. Like, I try and operate in the realm of likelihood of what reality is. So, what do I know? I know that over time the market goes up. There's little blips that it goes down, and it's almost like 3 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back, maybe 6 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 1 step back. But over time, it's going to go up. I have never thought of real estate as a speculative investment, buying and selling like you would day trading a stock, right? Not excluding things like flips, because that's a little different, but like, to just buy a home, hold on to it for 6 months with the intention of selling it without doing a thing to it, that doesn't make sense. So I'm just honest with people, right? You've been doing this long enough, Phil, at a very high level. You can give a suitable opinion based on your experience, but it's not like it's not like you got to be on the news, spouting out numbers left and right. So people want to know what's going on in the market. I just tell them, what do I know? First, what do I believe to be? What would I do? Put my own money, my own decision-making process. That's what I tell them, what I truly believe. I try not to be anything other than that. So I don't know, I hate to overly simplify it, but that's what I do. And it seems to work just fine. Many times what I'll do is I'll turn that into I'll as I did with Mark, a quick answer to a question, and then ask them a follow-up question. That's where I find the real value to be. Because they're asking because there's something behind. Why are they asking? Why are they asking? Why do they want to know what's happening with the market? Why do they want to know where interest rates are going, where prices are going, whether it's a good idea to buy or sell or invest or whatever? Why are they asking that? So that's where I see my role, is to not be somebody with answers, it's to be somebody with questions. Because let's face it, I don't know, a lot of people, they end up doing what they want to do. They really, really do. You know, they'll even go to a doctor and the doctor will tell them, you must take this pill or you will die. You must change your diet or you will die. And they still don't follow orders. They still don't follow the doctor's orders. There's a book about it. I forgot the name of the book, but Change or Die, I think is what it was called, if I'm not mistaken. People will literally be told, you are going to die if you continue eating that diet and don't start a medicine. They won't do it. So a lot of people are just, they're in their focus. So I just feel like they're asking me certain questions. I'll give them an answer, but it's my job to then say, okay, tell me why you're asking that. What is it that you're thinking of? How can I support you? What are you thinking of accomplishing? What is kind of, in a perfect scenario, what does that outcome look like? How can I help you achieve that outcome? They're going to do what they want, and I just want to support them in that process. Go ahead, Mark.
Thanks. Just to underscore your point, I just got the phone before this meeting with a gentleman. It was a cold call, and he asked me that question: what's happening with the market? And so it turns out that he just sold a property in North Carolina, and he wants to live in PV. So, but it took a while to get to that. So could have been more of a direct route, I think, if I just asked him. We're facing the lowest inventory we ever have, and how would I don't know exactly how you said it, but right, how would that affect you, or what interest is that for you? However you say it, I'm not saying it right, but yeah. But it eventually came out, yeah, he wants to buy a place in PV for himself. So, but it took a while in the conversation, maybe 6-7 minutes in, to get to that point, that it was because he had an underlying question for himself about doing something. So.
And is it a great time to buy? I think so. I know so, in fact. Is his property going to be worth, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars more will it be worth 10 years from now, right? If somebody wants to sell, is it a great time to sell? It probably is. Because they're probably asking that because they want to sell. How long? And they've owned it for 25 years. Yeah, sounds like a great time to sell. You've made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on that. And you're going to take that money and put it into something that will value your life in whatever way you see fit. Why don't you keep it for another 5 years? It'll go up in value. I don't want to keep it for another 5 years. I'm 86 years old. I want to take the damn thing out and go to Paris. It's like, fine. Yes, it's a great time to sell. Lauren, go ahead.
Yeah. So I work with a coworker here, and I was just talking to him yesterday. I was talking to another coworker about Dave Ramsey, and then that led off to like home equity lines of credit and stuff like that. Anyways, and then the other coworker started talking to me about the process of getting a HELOC and then interest rates and all that stuff. And turned out that he's a potential buyer, not a potential, like he's actively looking, like he started looking like last weekend, I think, and he wants to get a HELOC most likely on the property he currently has, and then go buy another property that he will most likely live in, him and his wife, and then they'll rent out the property they currently own. So I lined him up because I don't have answers to those questions necessarily to help him out as much as someone else could. So I put him in touch with Brett Leitner on via email, give him his information to contact him. What would be your advice for a next step to try to get like this locked in where I could have a potential buyer client? So I did my part of getting him in contact with Brett or giving Brett's information as to get information that he needs regarding this HELOC and stuff along those lines. What would be the next step in your opinion or your experience?
I would what you did, but then so first of all, Dave, are there HELOCs right now?
Sure, you need one?
I don't need one.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there are. And
Are there?
I mean, unfortunately though, if somebody fully taps a HELOC to make a purchase, sometimes it can throw their debt to income ratios out of whack and make it difficult for them to buy. So, but to answer Lauren's question, in my opinion, I would circle back with Brett right away and say, hey, what's going on? Because if you've referred this buyer to him, I mean, obviously it behooves both of you to get him moving, so.
Right. I got a response from Brett's automated email yesterday that he'd be back in the office today. But so you're saying follow up with Brett directly and see if he's reached out, or should I ask the
Yeah, for sure.
client? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, make sure that, because, again, we talk about this all the time. It's kind of a tough needle to thread sometimes, because you don't want to look like you're over, jumping the gun with the buyer. But, Brett should be, if they've asked for that information, then, Brett should reach out pretty quickly and make sure that you've got, path forward as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very-
so I would say, and by the way, so Dave is a great lender, Lauren. So
Okay.
if there's any slowdown in communication, just dial them in with Dave.
Okay.
But what I would say is,
Will you put your information in the comment in the chat below, Dave?
Yeah.
Cool,
yeah,
thank you.
whether it's Dave, Brett, or anybody else, really what I like to do is I am all over people. If there's some degree of motivation and then we talk lender, I'll text it. I'll say, I'll have Brett give you a call. I'll have Dave give you a call. I'll have Joe give you a call. I'll have somebody give you a call. I don't want them to call the lender. I want the lender to call them.
Okay.
And I should say, I'll do a text introduction. So it's immediate. So I'll do a text intro. I'll call up the lender and say, hey, give this guy a call. He's ready to chat, wants to do HELOC, blah, 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 blah. And then a follow up with the lender the following day. Did you guys talk? What's going on? Did you not talk? It's I don't think there's anything inappropriate about being really
Assertive?
proactive.
Okay.
Yeah, proactive. Because guess what? He's looking for a property.
Yeah.
Believe me, he's motivated. He
Yep.
wants you to be proactive. It's
Yep.
not going to make you look desperate. It's going to make you look like you have customer service, what we've been talking about.
Right.
You're on the ball. This guy wants, listen, he wants it. Anybody that can help me just get these roadblocks out of the way so I can buy a damn property. That's who I want to work with.
Cool. I'm
motivated. I want an agent that's motivated to help me. Listen, I want to buy something today. Oh, good. I'm going to be, oh gosh, I have to go to, I'm going out to dinner tonight. And then tomorrow's my birthday. Super excited. And then I like to do a 3-day birthday thing for me because, it's a big year. And then I'm going to be going to Mexico for a few days for my birthday. So just sit tight. I'll get back to you on like Thursday of next week. This is the week after. Let's do the week after. I'll call you in 2 weeks. It's like, what? No, goodbye, get out of here. I want some, rather than, listen, I really want to buy a property. Great. Okay, I'm going to hook you up with a lender. He's going to try you today. You guys make sure you connect today. I'll follow up with you tomorrow. Make sure you connected. As soon as you're all qualified, we'll start looking at properties. I want to get you in because the good ones they come and they go really, really fast. And I'm just like, yes, do it. Like, yes, I'm ready. He calls, I'll pick up the phone. Like, that's what motivation looks like.
Cool.
So you cannot be overly aggressive with a hot lead. They love it. They love it. So good job.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right, cool. Good stuff, guys. Yeah, feel free to call me offline, Lauren. We can talk more about that if you need to. But it sounds like you're in the right direction. Just a daily nudge or a daily touch to the lender, to the client, to somebody, make sure that things are making forward movement.
Okay, very good.
All right, good stuff, guys. Have a great week. Keep crushing it. Keep up the great work, and I'll talk to you next week. Take good care, guys.